Hello and welcome to Talk Time on LugardTV. I am Dominion Adeonju. Joining us today in the studio is Suberu Onimisinusa, the project manager of Kogi Estate. Thank you very much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Dominion.
Thank you,
it's my pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir. Briefly, I've been hearing about Kogi Real Estate, Kogi Estate. So can you tell us who is Kogi?
Kogi Estate is a conglomerate, but particularly the Kogi Estate is a real estate firm that has been into estate project for almost 20 years. We've built estate across the country, particularly in Abuja, where we've also partners in some estate development. So we've been building, and it's time for us to also come back to where we come from, which is Kogi State, to actually start doing something so that others can emulate.
Okay. All right, sir. How long have you been involved in real estate?
Just like as I've said, Kogi Estate have been in existence for over 20 years. We've been doing housing construction. We've been doing a whole lot about housing development, and all that you have housing automation. As a matter of fact, we are one of the leaders in housing automation that we've perfected for our customers. And we've also tried as much as possible to also build to taste to some of our customers, not as much as we're also building affordable housing across the nation.
All right, sir. Recently, Kogi Estate just did a groundbreaking of Itazi Court. Why Itazi Court?
Yes, we've been on this estate development for a very long time. And this time around, the vision of my chairman, Engineer Mohammed Lawal, is to bring back home what we've been doing in other places. Now, we've been trying to get a very befitting location for the past 6 months. Lucky enough, we get that location, which is about 2 hectares. So we said, look, we can start from here. Let's start something premium. So we actually said, okay, we're going to start with site and service, with prototypes that people will be able to build for themselves. So we're looking for a name. And of course, it's in Kogi Central. And, you know, the father of Ibrahim is a Tazi. So we said, okay, this estate should be known as a Tazi court because it's first of its kind. I'm sure even in the whole of Kogi State, with what we are actually bringing in there, is first of its kind. That, okay, so the father of Ibrahim is a Tazi, so let's have an Etazi court. So the name is coined from the father of Abraham. If you also look at the estate, we have every different Abraham names. You have the Okenwe Street, the Okene Street, the Hima Street, Eika Street, Egani Street. So those are children born out of Ibira. That is why, you know, you look at the Etazi Court. And Etazi Court is something different. You know, looking at the facilities we are actually putting into the estate. It's about 24 plots. We are going to have a guest inn. We are going to have a shopping mall. You know, we are going to have a recreation center. And the estate is going to be automated. It's going to be automated because the gate security, you can only access the estate with a card access. We are already talking to a company in South Africa who have branch in Lagos. They call them Centurion. They are going to provide the gate to that estate. Your visitors coming in will have a code, you know, and at the end of the day, we are going to have CCTV planted to secure the estate. We are going to have solar light, you know, so that at the end of the day, the common area will be well lit. Then the security, we're also going to have armed security. You know, those are infrastructures aside the access road, which of course is what is needed in the estate. So those are the facilities we're actually going to put in a Etazi court, which make it more different from what you get across the state.
Just like you said, it's actually one of a kind. Of course, I don't think this has been put in place in Kogi State. But with all these amenities, has there been any measures put in place to make sure it is quite affordable to the common people?
Like if you look at the cost of our land today, I'm looking at what you get from other places that actually own this kind of infrastructure. Ours is the cheapest across the nation.
Wow.
As little as it is, you can get a land for 4.5 million to put up a bungalow. You can get a land for 8 million to put up a duplex that have penthouse. You can put up you can actually own a land that will give you a duplex for 7 million. So, and those are actually quite big. We are talking about 800 square meters, 650 square meters, and we are talking about 400 square meters. So they are big. Like if you actually go to other places, you see people selling land for 250 square meters, 300 square meter, more than the same amount. So having this facility in place and getting this price for that land is quite affordable, because we also put into consideration the economy of the state and how people need to afford and live in this estate.
All right. Recently, the cost of housing in Kogi State, especially Lokoja, has been on the rise, with landlords waking up, increasing the rent overnight. Houses of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom that used to be 300, 250 formerly, now becoming 1 million, 1.5. What difference are you hoping to make?
Yes, like across the nation, we have a deficit of about 28 million, housing deficit of about 28 million. Of course, we all know that the prices of building a house is quite high, but over the years, we've not actually done something great investing in our housing sector across the nation. So today, if you look at it, those deficits needed to bridge that gap, because the housing is about demand and supply. In the situation where you have more supply, of course, the prices will surely come down. So for us in MoveCard, we are trying as much as possible to show presence, to build houses, so that in the end you have at least, even if not totally wiping out this deficit, which of course, but you discover that we have more houses that people can also make their choice. And people will say, okay, this house have been here for over 20 years. Well, I have gotten back my investment. For now, it's just, I can give and make it affordable, probably on humanitarian ground, on sympathetic ground. And, you keep running that way. So ours is to keep creating, keep building. And we're also calling on other investors to come into Kogi State and also look at having more houses in the state.
All right. How does your business goals align with the agenda of the Kogi State government to promote access to housing?
Well, you see, the executive governor of this state, His Excellency Alhaji Usman Ahmed Ododo, is doing a whole lot. So many forums, so many discussions. You've talked about how do we bridge this housing deficit in Kogi State. We met with the Honorable Commissioner of Housing under the instruction of His Excellency Governor Usman Ahmed Ododo to take it up on how we can actually provide affordable housing for workers of Kogi State. That discussion is at top speed because the governor wanted this immediately, and it's also at a very, it's on high gear because they need the workers to also take benefit of this. So we are looking at that. So His Excellency is trying as much as possible to bridge that housing gap. Just like what you said, if the workers own their houses, they won't pay as high as that to actually own a house. And so we are trying to come up with what we call rent to own for the Kogi workers. So this rent to own, we're going to build at affordable prices, which they can afford. Then the workers will move into these houses. And of course, with interest rate of 6-7% and with the support of the Federal Mortgage Bank, they can as well access those houses. And in the end, the housing deficit in Kogi must have at least minimal, would have brought it down to minimal so that a high rent of you paying those houses won't be there again. We even live in a house where, at the end of 15-20 years, we own those houses. So we are in line with His Excellency Governor Usman Ododo agenda in bridging the gap for this housing, which of course discussions are going. We are looking at some institutions where we're going to partner them to provide housing for their staff. So a whole lot is going at the background. Now we surely believe by the time those things start to materialize, you'll discover that this issue of high rent we've just talked about will have at least come down.
Especially elated about the news of this rent to own you just mentioned. What are your next plans? You've mentioned some plans already, but what other plans do you have in housing development in Kogi State and beyond?
Like the Move Card Estate is looking at a sustainable housing scheme. Just like as I have said, we need something sustainable.
Yes.
We are looking at a whole lot of technology. Yesterday, we were discussing with a professional that have done a whole lot on compressed brick. So we are looking at that too. It's cheaper and, it's the model we can afford. So yesterday we had the meeting and we look at it, okay, can we actually incorporate this, a compressed brick in building houses? So what can we do? The man is opening a very big factory somewhere in Abubu and he's looking at, look, this we can partner together and this can actually save 20% cost in your housing. So the plan is we are going to partner a whole lot. Like when we are actually doing the groundbreaking, my chairman instructed I have discussion with a company known as Rurotech. Rurotech is coming to provide gas line to every houses. So they will just have their gas plant, a mini gas plant, and then you just plug in your gas at home, you have a meter running, and then you pay at the end of the month. So it's going to be sustainable, it's going to be cheaper because the economic of scale will be there. So by the time we look at contribution from here and there and those partnerships coming into play, you will be surprised that the prices of building houses will definitely come down and make it affordable for all, at least people that will be able to get the houses.
Yes, that's true. I'm very grateful for having you here in the studio.
Thank you so much.
It was a wonderful discussion with you, learning about the whole plans you have for Kogi State and beyond. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us.
So appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. That's it on Talk Time on LugardTV. You've heard from the project manager of Kogi Estate. We've spoken about the housing deficit in Lokoja. And of course, we cannot all wait for the Itazi courts to be fully developed. Thank you very much for staying with us. I remain Dominion Adeonju.